Welcome to part 2 of my in-depth analysis and scene-by-scene breakdown of the Wicked movie. We're starting with scene 4, which is right after The Wizard and I, and I just mentioned I absolutely love that scene. Scene 5, we are in Elphaba and Glinda's dorm room, and I just love how bitchy Glinda is at this point. Her bitchiness in this scene specifically is so turned up, and it's such a nice touch. The "I so enjoy air" moment is absolutely hysterical. At this point, Glinda is our bad guy, and I think it's so nice how the whole thing moves, where you kind of find out that yes, there are bad guys, people who are just bad, but for the most part, everybody has good and bad inside of them. And it's such an interesting sort of theme to look at throughout the whole thing, especially in the medium of film, where they have more space to play with those themes. And Elphaba breaks the glass in the dorm room, and it's in the shape of a hat. I think that is such a nice touch. What Is This Feeling is one of the absolute best songs in the film because they just use the medium of film again in such a unique way to bring something new out of the song that previous mediums of Wicked couldn't. I think that female friendship is so complicated, and there are times when you have a female close friend that you're like a frenemy with almost, where it is competitive. You do have highs and lows, and I think there's also this sort of like frenemy vibe where they're both like enjoying pissing each other off. They sing together, it sounds like one voice, and yeah. The choreography is woven in so well throughout the entire thing. It does not stick out and look like it's misplaced. It's beautiful. The entire thing is scored so well. If you pay attention to what is playing in the background when they're not singing, there's always music, and it fits each scene and each moment in such a gorgeous, gorgeous way. Now we're in class with Dr. Dillamond, where he cannot pronounce Galinda's name, but in stark contrast, he can pronounce Elphaba's name. That's something that immediately stood out to me, and I just think that they even had a little beat on when he says Miss Elphaba for the first time. It's so nice. Obviously, the poppies woven throughout the entire thing, a direct call out to The Wizard of Oz, which I love and is not really in the musical. I love how Elphaba has personal style. She has these really gorgeous, really long acrylic nails. She has a full set of nails, and she always has her hair styled, and she has this quirky sense of fashion. I think she kind of gets reduced in the musical because again, there's not enough space, and there's also too much distance physically to explore those details in the musical. It's so nice that we see her as this stylish woman who has a very full personality beyond just being the green girl outcast. Madame Morrible is so manipulative, and Michelle Yeoh plays this part just so well. The way that she is using Elphaba's anger and using Elphaba's reaction to what happened to Dr. Dillamond to get her to perform in the way she wants to, because she knows that she's capable of it. And even though she knows that they want to use Elphaba to actually help them silence the animals, she's gonna pretend like she gives a fuck about what Elphaba cares about, because if Elphaba gets mad, Elphaba performs. Everybody, for the most part, thinks that Something Bad is the skip song in the musical. I think it was really, really well done, though, and it gave it new color. Typically, that song happens right after the scene where he sees the sign that says animals should be seen and not heard. They added the scene right after that where Elphaba is doing magic with Madame Morrible, and then they added this Something Bad scene. It's completely new, and I think it was really necessary color and really nice, and again, illuminates why Elphaba is going to end up caring so much about rebelling against the wizard. We're setting ourselves up for this defying gravity moment with every single second so far. If you try hard enough, you can keep anyone silent. Just a line that stuck out to me because I think you can see Elphaba really internalizes that, and then she chooses eventually not to stay silent. Seeing how woven in this obsession with the wizard is, and even the Oz bless you, Dr. Dillamond, instead of God bless you. It's such a nice touch, and again, just gives us more color as to what is going on in Oz and who the bad guys really are, and how propaganda works both in inflating someone who's a bad person into convincing people that they're a good person, and in doing the opposite as well. The Fiyero entrance is so good. The chemistry is there from the second they meet, which is something that we miss in the musical. I love that he's the first person that on his first impression of her, he treats her well. He treats her with kindness. He's kind of why is this girl sprouting off at me about why she's green? He doesn't really care that she's green, and that is obvious from their first meeting, and I love that. He also shuts her up, which a lot of people can't do. And then when she walks away, she says, "Get stuffed," which is a Scarecrow reference, and I love that line. Girl walks in and everybody fawns over him, and I love how intentionally queer that choice is, where like every single person from Bo and Yang to like every single woman, every single man, every single person at Shiz is in love with him. There are so many queer themes in the original Wizard of Oz, in this too, but I think it's nice how like just regular it is. Of course everybody loves him. Of course everybody's attracted to him. And the score is so gorgeous. Like the score in that little scene with Fiyero and Glinda on their first meeting where they're like walking around that bulletin board is so beautiful and theatrical. And it's also some of the same chord progressions or the same chords as Popular. And they do that a lot. You will hear like the same chord progression as like I'm Not That Girl at certain parts, and it's really beautiful. All right, so now we're in Dancing Through Life, and this is, I think, one of the best scenes in the whole movie. I love how kind Fiyero is to everybody, including Bach. Like, he's not an asshole, and it's very evident off the get that he's not going to make fun of someone for being from Munchkinland or being a little awkward or weird or different. I love how he sort of cheekily like pans to the camera a couple times. I think he's like one of the only characters that does this and sort of like breaks the fourth wall in a very like subtle way. It's really nice, and I love that. I also like that Elphaba is clearly his challenge, and he wants that challenge, even though he's gonna pretend like he doesn't. His British accent works, the choreography works, and each Bach moment is so well placed. Ethan Slater absolutely killed this. Now I'm saying Ariana is so pretty because she is. And I love also the amount of time that we get seeing how Elphaba and Nessa are still close, and how Nessa, still loves and confides in her sister. I also love how we can tell, again, this like frenemy thing with Elphaba and Glinda, that Glinda like low-key secretly admires Elphaba and vice versa. I will say it drove me crazy that you're perfect, so we're perfect together part is in front of a window, so the backlight is coming in. I wish it was the other way around so we saw the natural light on them, but that's just a small nitpicky thing. The entire sequence from Glinda getting ready with Martha and Bowen's character, all the way through them like sneaking through the like quad to getting on that boat is so college. It is so universally recognizable and relatable, and we've all seen ourselves in a situation like that, or lots of us have. And like that giddy, like teenage, like you're 19 years old and you're like giggling, like it's just so perfect. There's this moment where Fiyero and Glinda are standing near like a flowery tree while they're like waiting to board that boat, and he picks a flower off the tree and puts it in her hair. I want us to remember that. We get to the Ozdas Ballroom, we have the animal band. It's so interesting again that the animals are working service jobs. Just so much more space to explore in the medium of film than we get in the musical, and even than we get in the book. And I think something that's so lovely about an adaptation done well is when you use the attributes of the medium that you're adapting this piece of art into to your advantage to explore things that haven't been explored in prior adaptations. There are certain things film can't do for Wicked that theater can do, and there are certain things that the book can do that theater and the film can't do. But it's just nice to see them actually using the medium to their advantage instead of just like tossing it up on film and calling it a day. I love that they keep in all the iconic lines from the musical. It does just touch me in the right way. When Elphaba enters the Ozdust, her impulse is to be the outcast, to play that role and to almost rebel, but you can tell she wants Glinda's validation and affirmation. She showed up there because she was invited. She wants to belong, and she doesn't shy away from that. Cynthia's Elphaba doesn't shy away from the fact that belonging is something that she wants. She welcomes Glinda entering that dance floor because she needs her. And Glinda needs Elphaba too. And I think this is the first moment that we really see that. I love when she puts the hat back on as well. She takes it off, it's on the floor, puts it back on. She's more comfortable with herself like that, and she's okay with that. I love how diverse and colorful Oz is in such a natural way. We see all body types. It's so racially diverse. It's just natural. It's so refreshing and wonderful. When Ariana says it's all right when her and Cynthia are dancing, it's like such a natural, beautiful moment. It like feels, it's so intimate, and I love it. I love too how they pan to Fiyero looking at them, and he's sort of confused, but he's also like admiring this like thing that just happened, and he can like feel it. And that's part 2. Come back for part 3.